circus tent crowd hushed. The elephant stared straight at the man. His children looked up at him. "Daddy," said one, "what's wrong?" The man hushed him, and a tear appeared on his now white face. His heart was racing. Could it be, after so long? The elephant left the ring and slowly walked up the aisle towards the man. There was no sign of the limp where years ago he'd removed the thorn deep in the forests of Africa. You could have heard a pin drop. The audience was on the edge of their seats. The man was crying. So many years, and he'd not forgotten him. Slowly, the elephant walked up to the man and stopped. With what seemed like tenderness, he put his giant trunk around the man's neck and snapped his head off. Different elephant.
I'm sick if you ask me.
It's the look on your faces at the end that kills me. Sorry, ma'am. Only trying to liven things up.
Oh, maybe Mr. Pierce will offer us some later.
Which way were you headed when the river stopped you?
To town. I had to cross the blasted bridge up to my knees in water.
I was going towards Reedsdale. Past this place just before I reached the bridge. I was tossing up staying the night anyway.
Our share of troubles before we even got there, actually.
Of course, once we could see again and straightened up the car, we found we were off the road. Not much damage, though. A lot of scratches from an old tree lying there.
And then to find the bridge out, that was about the end. I really wanted to be in town tonight.
Yeah, you up this way often, then?
Once a month. It's part of my territory. I'm in the wholesale liquor business. Here's my card. Give us a call if you want anything. I can always get you a discount.
Mr. Todman.
Harry.
Robinson. Michael.
You know the sign at the bridge, half a mile to John Pierce's place. He didn't put it up till 6 o'clock. Cunning bastard.
Funny thing, this flooded river.
I'll give you a hand.
These mountains like the back of my hand. Never known it to be higher than this.
And where are you coming back from?
The coast.
Honeymoon?
Does it show?
The glow will soon fade.
Moira, don't start. Just don't.
Well, look at that spread. Who have you got in the kitchen? Betty Crocker?
You'll have to excuse the rough and ready service, but I sent the staff home early. I only have a couple of permanent guests, local school teacher Chappie and man from the PMG. It's because of them that I'm open. Other places in these parts are closed this time of the year. If anybody wants anything else, I'll do my best to get it for you. But I can't promise any fancy cooking.
This will be just fine for us, thanks.
What's that?
Possums, the weather brings them in under the roof.
I'll help myself.
You'd be surprised just how much business we get from people like yourselves who get caught up here when the weather turns. Well, a couple of weeks back, I had a whole pantechnicon of picnickers. Rowdy bunch they were, too. Kept jumping and jiving around the place with their wretched transistors blasting out their boogie-woogie, whatever they call it these days. How's that, Mr. Robinson?
I think that's fine. Thank you.
And only 4 days ago, I had a busload of old folk from the Sunset Rest home for the night.
Next, you'll be telling us this is the headquarters for a wife-swapping club.
Ham.
Huh?
Sandwich?
Thanks. Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson.
The old folk, I mean. They sang songs, told stories, and there was even one old boy that pulled a rabbit out of a hat.
I should be interested in the process of putting it back. Yes, most interested.
Oh, I thought you'd dozed off, Mr.
No, I have been quietly observing.
Tea, Mr.
No, thank you.
What was that about putting the rabbit back into the hat? Seems to me that once you've got the rabbit in the hat, that's easy.
And not the way I should do it. I should put it back so completely that you would never have had it at all.
Oh, sounds like customers.
I don't think I quite follow you.
It may be best not to try.
I remember a group of entertainers during the war. Magicians. They gave us a bit of a concert turn. One chap had doves hidden all over him. Up his shirt, down his trousers, in his hat.
Magicians? You can keep them.
I can't bear jugglers. They leave me cold.
You can add trapeze artists to that for me. I find them absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, they're bloody fools.
I think we all have a touch of the trapeze artist in us. The desire just once to taste the ecstasy of danger, the sweet thrill of terror. But lacking a crystal ball and not knowing the outcome is the problem. If we knew we could taste danger and come through it unharmed, perhaps we might be tempted to embrace its pleasures.
Like the apprehension I used to feel as a kid waiting on the roller coaster at the fun park. I mean, I knew nothing could happen, but the thought that maybe it could used to really grab me.
I've always felt apprehension whenever I've played with a Ouija board. When the glass starts to move and spell out things, I somehow feel, well, maybe it is a message. Maybe someone or somebody out there does have something to tell us.
Old Don Pierce probably arranged the storm himself through his Ouija board. He must have a full house by now. He must be making a mint tonight.
Flat.
Well, be pretty unusual for him to have this number of guests.
Maybe more than 2 pheasants and a lame duck, won't we?
Probably it's the odd small crowd.
Ah, here he is.
Another lot coming from the city. I'll look at the bridge and straight back.
Your guiding sign again.
So we're not getting stranded. Anyone for a drink?
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Jack, what time is it?
Nearly 10.
Just me a drink.
No thanks, Mr. Pierce.
Have you got Monopoly?
No, I'm sorry.
Anyone for cards, then?
I had 6 hands earlier. That's enough for me.
Well, I could tell a few Peel Dream stories.
No, you don't. You'd bore the pants off them.
Jack could always do a juggling act for us. He knows how much I like those.
Well, anything for a laugh. Mr. Giles has refused to do his rabbit trick.
I don't believe I have.
Well, we got off the subject of rabbits and on to possums.
Maybe you could put a possum back in his mother's pouch.
Or make it cease to exist entirely.
But that's killing it, and there's nothing clever in that.
I would not kill it at all. I would decreate it. Decreate. The process of making something that exists cease to exist.
I wish you could decreate this weather.
Well, if it's not killing or hiding something, can you explain what it is?
Let me explain it this way. Everything has its reverse aspect. Positive is the reverse of negative. Light of darkness. Good of evil. Creation of decreation.
So when you put the rabbit back in the hat, it ceases to exist, eh? Like it was never there at all? Vanished into thin air?
Exactly.
Are you really suggesting you could decreate a rabbit?
I could decreate you. Perhaps we had better change the subject.
Oh, no, you don't. You don't get out of it like that.
Get out of it? I should not be the one to get out of it.
And I wouldn't want you to. I'm a Dennis Wheatley fan myself, and I find this sort of stuff interesting.
He gives me the creeps.
Who? Giles?
No, Wheatley.
Well, why don't you decreate something here, like that clock or the vase?
Or Mr. Todman.
Touché.
Well, it all sounds bloody confusing to me.
To explain what I'm talking about is really quite simple, if you insist on pursuing the subject.
Well, you've got me in.
Well, most of us are concerned in our lives with the business of making something, creating something, producing something which appeared to have no previous existence. There is another process which can engage our interest equally if we study it. The process of making something which does exist cease to exist.
Isn't that what a murderer does?
Well, not exactly. If, for instance, the lights were to suddenly fuse, and in the subsequent disorder I was to murder someone in this room, the body would cease functioning, but it would still be there as evidence that a crime had been committed. But by decreating you, I should eliminate your body as well as your life. I should eliminate everything connected with you. Everything. Everything connected with and all you have ever done. You would be sponged off the pages of history. You would go out more completely than the extinguished flame of a candle, for not even the memory of you would remain. So who among you will be willing to experiment with decreation now?
Well, it's an interesting theory.
I do not theorize.
Bloody nonsense, if you ask me.
Sponged off the pages of history. You'd have to be joking.
That, from my point of view, is the fly in the ointment.
You mean it is some sort of trick?
No.
Or it must be a joke? It has to be.
Those who remain will think it is a joke, and I shall not attempt to disillusion them. How could I with no material to prove my point? If, say, I eliminated Mr. Todman as requested, and at the end of it no one remembers anything about him, how could I prove that he ever existed? Therefore, I shall have to agree that it was a joke, to save fruitless discussion and the charge of black magic, of which by now you will have gathered that I have some knowledge.
Well, what do you think of that? We're asked to believe in black magic, and when we demand an example, we're refused because the example won't prove it.
Only you have missed one rather important point.
What's that?
I have not refused to give you an example.
Jack, shouldn't you go and ring the other people? But Jack...
I said not now. I don't want to miss out on this.
Then I will.
No, Jessamine, no.
All right, let the show begin.
You wish to start?
Well, yes. But, can you answer one unimportant question? Who is going to be eliminated?
I don't know.
Well, who does?
Well, I start the process, but when that is done, it is out of my hands. The choice of victim is not mine.
Then whose is it?
The process is.
The process. Perhaps the process will choose you.
It is possible. And now, if we're going to begin, can someone put out the lights?
Is that necessary?
It is advisable. The process needs the cover of darkness. Before the lights go out, look around you. Remember who is next to you. Now in this blackness, one of us will slip away forever. The process has begun. Already in your minds, the cynicism and amusement at the eccentricity of a strange man is being replaced by a questioning fear. Perhaps you are thinking, perhaps he does have a knowledge of things so fearful, so frightening, the conscious awareness of them could drive one mad. Perhaps you are thinking he has delved into the black arts and by communing with the forces of evil has discovered the essence of existence. Perhaps you are thinking this man is not a man at all, but the devil. I will tell you how it happens. That I know. Remain silent. But not to whom it will happen, that I do not know. Remain silent. Remain still. Only make the movement I shall shortly tell you, if you can. If you can. Do you feel something against your throat? Just a slight sensation now, but it is growing into something soft and fluttery. It is as if a very large and very soft moth was beating its wings against your thorax in a feeble attempt to fly. Whoever is feeling it is thinking, no, not me. Wait, it will go. I'm imagining. No, it will go. Not me. But it is not going, is it? Others are experiencing the sensation, not only the chosen one. Others too. This, of course, is only nervous apprehension. In the chosen one, there is also elimination of physical and mental matter. Atom by atom, someone is ceasing to exist. For the rest, afterwards you will talk about it. But now you are wondering if there will be an afterwards for you. Let me end your wondering. I can spare you all, but one. Move your hand. Gently. Gently. Can you? If you can, a further span of this overprized existence remains yours. You will continue your pleasure, your pains, your joys and your sufferings, your lovings and your loathings. But if you cannot, if you try to move your hand and there is no movement, if you try to cry and there is no voice, if you try to think and there is no thought, only the fluttering becoming more and more rapid, more and more intense, more and more suffocating. A body invading your own, atom by atom, until you have become one with it and finding nothing. A sponge sucking out your being. A small mist, a large mist into the fog of eternity. Where are you? Where are you? Who are you? Who were you?
For Christ's sake, the lights! Oh, sit down, where are you, bloody fool?
Jesus. He didn't half put the wind up me.
Like an idiot.
Are you all right, Mrs. Robinson?
Does anyone want a drink?
I wouldn't mind. Well, we're all here. Of course.
What was that, an earthly noise?
Possums.
I think that's enough entertainment for one night.
So it was a joke. Hey, Giles?
Well, of course. You built it up in your own minds to be anything else. I was merely the guide. I'm a bit of a Dennis Wheatley fan myself.
Well, you had me worried. But it's marvelous what a dark room can do.
Are you coming, Michael?
Well, it's been most enlightening.
I do hope you will forgive me. But a night like this was just too good to waste.
Michael.
Well, good night, all. Don't ever get married, Jack.
I've no intention of it, Mr. Robinson.